Whoa, boy. These two dudes definitely like each other just a little bit too much.
Perform their mating routine, gasps of shock are heard in the background. The tourists have now seen the true nature of their debauchery. With their gayness no longer a secret, they begin to tickle each other. There is only one word to describe it:
Fanfare. So, of course, now, a lot of people are wondering, is that Bieber and P. Diddy? It isn't, but this has now larger questions remained to what is going on with Justin Bieber. As a few days ago, 8 days ago exactly, we did a video talking about the mental and physical being of Justin Bieber not being the best. And it looks like our kind of video here foretelling about more problems ahead was sadly true here, as we got new footage of Bieber at a concert acting in some very weird, strange ways. All of this as we wanted to talk about the crazy, insane world of the rich and famous, as there's a lot of really bad predators in there that do some really awful, horrible, satanic, evil stuff. Is that connected to what is happening right now with Bieber? Well, I think there's two plausible explanations to explain the recent kind of erratic, dangerous behavior. As of course, this video should be a lesson to everyone about child fame and substances and about being very careful who you surround yourself with. This, as Metro.uk is reporting, that Justin Bieber fans are begging him to get help after his Coachella appearance reignites concern. And there's a lot of room for concern with videos like this of a weird caned black man holding on to not so conscious Bieber, who definitely does look like he could barely hold himself up. Now, who in the world is this man? Why do they think that this was appropriate? Why does Bieber not have his shirt on? As a lot of people are responding to this by saying, I feel sorry for this kid. He's a slave to the degenerate industry. They broke him. I think that's one of the more fairer kind of observations here throughout all of this, as there's a fuller video showing the very kind of weird, erratic kind of behavior that a lot of people have associated with someone having a mental and physical breakdown. Now, a lot of people are saying that this is kind of very characteristic of someone going through meth and other hard drugs here, as of course you see him smoking something there in this particular video, and then in another video here, as this should be a learning lesson to a lot of the kids out there. Hey, don't go into the music industry. Hey, don't send your children off to Diddy parties and 48-hour sleepovers. So, because there's going to be some consequences to pay for this. As the Hollywood Reporter has an article saying Justin Bieber's crisis of faith, a bitter management shakeup, angry public outbursts, a narcissist pastor whose world is gospel. What in God's name is happening to the once mighty pop icon? Whatever he's going through, I pray for him, a longtime collaborator says. Yeah, I think prayers are needed now more than ever, as he's going down the same kind of pathway as a lot of child actresses, actors, and musicians have gone through themselves. And a lot of this leads to some very self-destructive, horrible behavior that needs to be called out, that needs to be intervened before we see the demise of such amazing young talent that sadly is in the eye of the public for all of us to see the demise of. Now, this is a big learning lesson here, as again, a lot of people are saying, hey, we're worried about him. And you should be, especially when you know the cameras are on you, you know you're in public, you know you're an example to everyone, and you're all strung out, you're all barely walking, you're seen in videos like this with what looks like apparent fame hogs and what looks like you're forced to do. it's a sad, disgusting state of affairs that I think only will be getting perpetually worse from here. As there's now rumors of him allegedly being in financial distress. Some people close to him are saying that that's not true at all here. But it's not just financial messes that would potentially drive someone towards substance abuse here. I think there's two contributing factors to all of this. One is the kind of layman's explanation. And I wanted to go through two of these kind of explanations and then kind of leave it up to you to decide, hey, what do you think is really essentially going down here? As some people are saying, hey, leave him alone. Stop talking about it. I think we need to talk about this in order to try to bring attention to this. One, to prevent it from happening. Two, to hopefully get the alarms off before this ends in the demise of someone who I think is following the pathways of all these other young celebrities that have lost their lives so prematurely, either through drug abuse or self-harm. Now, the kind of layman's explanation here is that fame is a hell of a drug, and then when you're a young kid and when you just see people that are trying to use you for fame, you don't really develop bonds, you don't really have a childhood. When you don't really have a childhood, you then later kind of act out in more kind of childish behavior because you're kind of clinging on to something that other people have that you don't have. That's the kind of psychological explanation to all of this, that fame ruins the minds of a lot of people. The fame gets to people's heads, and the ego, the narcissism, the kind of insane world of having people worship you as a god is something that is, of course, intuitive to a mental health crisis and a mental health breakdown, because the human brain can't simply fathom something like this. And we have seen a lot of people who get too famous too quickly, it gets to their head, and then they have mental breakdowns. Another explanation here is to, of course, explain everything that has happened here with Diddy. As Diddy took young Justin Bieber when he was still a teenager, and he personally took him under his baby-oiled, deprived, sick wing. As there's some larger conversations now happening about Clive Davis, a guy who allegedly turned Diddy out, and then Diddy was turning out other people like Usher and Bieber. Is that true? Before getting into that and delving into that specific kind of conspiracy and lore, which I think is worth talking about, we wanted to tell you about thebestpoliticalshirts.com, where you could get a shirt like the one that I'm wearing right now, which is a little salacious, to say the least here. If you want to find it, just type in Diddy into thebestpoliticalshirts.com. Click the link down in the description below, and then you find it right here. And then you click on it, and then bada bing, bada boom, you got the shirt available for you here. We got a lot of great shirts that help you express your fullest self, and it allows people to, of course, be vocal about their political and personal perspectives and opinions. We got two banger shirts are going to be released in a little bit here. Some of the messages are funny and a little ridiculous, and they're not for, the more serious types of topics and conversations like this one. And other ones are pretty gosh darn serious. And once you're able to wear these T-shirts, once you do go out to the general public and you start communicating with people and people start communicating with you, you start to learn, like, well, there's a lot of people out there that actually believe the same thing that I do, that think the same way I do. And once you have those common bonds, those types of friendships and relationships that you build through freely expressing yourself are absolutely incredible. I was, an introvert. I was a single child. I had difficulties kind of meeting people. And then one of the reasons I started to wear kind of crazy shirts, and I'm like, oh yeah, people just start talking to you when you're doing that. And I was like, why not just make shirts myself? And then I started to do them with my own kind of messaging, my own kind of funny kind of representation of ideas, as I wanted to, of course, shock, and I wanted to, of course, do a form of performance art, if you could call it that, a low-level, low IQ performance art. I'm really proud at what we were able to accomplish here. You should check out some of the shirts. Thebestpoliticalshirts.com is the website, and get a T-shirt and get engaged in the conversation, since I think we need to have them more than ever. All of this, let's get back to the conversation surrounding P. Diddy here, as Diddy is soon, according to many reports, going to be entering court in picking a jury to be selected against the multiple federal charges that he's facing, as he's also facing a lot of civil lawsuits surrounding some of the alleged deprived behavior that he was doing. As of course, there's a lot of older videos showing, a 40-year-old P. Diddy talking about the sleepover, the 48-hour sleepover he's doing with Justin Bieber when Justin Bieber was still just a teenager. As now, a lot of people are saying this is really disturbing and probably related to now the kind of mental and physical breakdown of Justin Bieber that we're seeing in the public limelight.
10-year-old's dream. I have been given custody of him. He signed to Usher.
I'm signed to Usher.
Usher is another person that, again, at a very young age was taken under the baby-oiled wing of Diddy here. And again, young children are very impressionable. I don't know what these parents are thinking, just being like, yeah, hey, here, Diddy. Here, rapper that talks about degenerate stuff all the time and is known for doing degenerate stuff. And the inner circle of Hollywood knows you do some really weird stuff. Here, take my kid. Take him. He's a teenager. He's fine. I don't think everything was fine here. I think from the salacious details that we're getting here, especially with some of these after parties, it highlights some very kind of debaucherous behavior. And when you're a child and you have peers to look up to that are billionaires like P. Diddy that take you under their own wing, man, that to me is a recipe for disaster and highlights the possibility of some really nasty bad behavior, as there are serious conversations in the entertainment industry that individuals like Clive Davis was the alleged, quote, gay mentor of Diddy, and he's the one that turned Diddy into the notorious undercover brother that he is here, and that he's the one that allegedly helped Diddy start his label and helped Diddy get his start. And there's a lot of, really interesting hip-hop lore surrounding B.I.G., surrounding Tupac, and allegedly those individuals daring to speak out, and then those individuals allegedly being taken out. That's the rumor mill that's going out there, as individuals like Suge Knight, claimed that Diddy and Clive Davis were, quote, lovers, and they were famous, quote, undercover brothers that did some really weird stuff. And now you have the story just even getting crazier and crazier, especially with Kanye West, that just admitted to some weird behavior with his cousin on his social media. Now, again, Ye also is the person that is continuing to call Diddy, as Diddy's famous friends aren't responding to him, aren't contacting him, as it looks like Kanye West just released a song about his cousin, and his cousin that took the life of a pregnant lady a few years ago, and was doing some very weird adult type of behavior when they were small children as well here. Again, lots of people, this is the response to all of this. And again, when we look at hip-hop music, when we look at rap music, including all the mumble nonsense that is spewed out there, to me, it is a form of fifth and fourth generational forms of warfare against the general public, as now people are saying this is pretty sad here. This is pretty disgusting to see what Ye is talking about here, as a lot of people are like, just when you thought the world couldn't get more debaucherous, more weird, more deprived, we have the latest from Ye kind of concluding, and I'm just going through some of the responses here, concluding and talking about how, this group, this party, these individuals, probably far more deprived than we could ever potentially expect. And what did you think was going to happen here? You give young people all the money, all the power, all the fame. It's like you're kind of in the video game, but you have all the hacks. and then the game's not challenging anymore, so you start doing weird stuff just to see what you could get away with. That, I would say, is the psychology of a lot of these very powerful individuals. They're just given kind of carte blanche to do whatever they wanted to do. As P. Diddy has been doing some weird stuff for a very long time, and only now, in a very interesting turn of events, only now are we actually seeing him actually being held accountable. As we're going to see how this court proceeding goes, it's not going to be easy for the feds to prove some of their allegations here. As soon he's going to be, of course, appearing in court. Now, Diddy wanted to delay this criminal court trial since the prosecution has been adding charges and adding indictments and adding a lot of evidence on Diddy and his legal team. But it looks like a judge just stopped his bid to delay this trial, and it will be moving forward. As Diddy now is in one of the most corrupted jails in the United States, a jail and a court system and a prosecution office, the Southern District of New York, where a lot of the conspiracies usually go away to pasture. A lot of the conspiracies are just snuffed out, and then a lot of information pinpointing very powerful people, because Diddy was connected to some very powerful people. He was connected to all the billionaires. He was connected to all the politicians. He was connected to the Clintons. He was connected to the Obamas. And I do believe this case is meant by the Southern District of New York to safeguard a lot of these very high politically influenced individuals from any kind of scrutiny here. Now, I think the possibility of major bombshells during these court proceedings, I think they're not going to be coming out, because I saw the prosecution just kind of release everything that they did. I think there might be some celebrities that might be implicated here, but a lot of people are saying this is where all the politicians are going to be finally held responsible. No, probably not. The Southern District of New York is a political office that is supposed to be non-political, but it heavily leans to the left, okay? It heavily leans to the Democratic Party establishment. Diddy was very much involved in the political Democratic establishment. Do you see political Democratic establishment exposing the Democratic establishment? I do not. And I don't think we are going to see the levels of exposures that a lot of people expect to see in these particular cases. And I think we're going to see a continued cover-up. Some celebrities might be revealed here. Some more details that are a little bit more salacious might be revealed here. But as far as big kind of earthquake conspiracies being revealed here, I don't think that's going to happen, which is a shame, since I think it's fair to assume here that we are seeing the destruction of our youth as perfectly represented by this kind of degenerate music in what is happening right now to Bieber, as just one small example of just how seedy, rotten, and corrupted this entire nefarious industry is, which I think has been weaponized against civil society in order to destroy us from within. Now, that is just my conspiracy theory. Do you think I'm correct? If you are, share this video. If you want to support me, get a t-shirt and speak your truth here. As I would say, Diddy is definitely going to have his day in court very soon. We're going to be paying very close attention to it. And if there's a learning lesson here, parents, be careful to who you give your children to, who you surround your children with, and most importantly, what kind of influences you surround them with as well. And if you're a young person, let this be a learning lesson to you about what not to do, okay? There's a reason why you shouldn't idolize celebrities. There's a reason you shouldn't put anyone above a pedestal. There's a reason you shouldn't worship man, because man is infallible. Man is imperfect. Man will always make mistakes. That's, I think, the biggest learning lesson throughout all of this that I think is worth listening to, that I think is worth sharing, that I think is worth pontificating and thinking about here. If you agree, share this video with your friends and family members. It's always very much appreciated. We're still showing a net negative of like negative 843 subscribers here on this channel. We're going to be covering the trial when it unfolds in New York very closely. So if you want a lot of those videos, subscribe, click the notification button. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys subscribing. Click the notification button, get in the t-shirt, and me and Atlas, who is passed out Appreciate it very much from the bottom of our hearts. Stay tuned for more, all here exclusively on youtube.com/wearechange.